now recording this as well, record this. So good evening, everyone. Good to have all of you once again for that IPN India Top 10 Priority Series. We've been running this for almost a month now, having traversed the northern, the central, the western, and the central Indian leg. We are now touching base with our leaders from the eastern leg. So firstly, my sincere thanks to each of the speaker who accepted my invite to be with us today, starting with Dr. Sarita Sinha, who is the principal of DPS Dhanbad, Jharkhand, again, Dhanbad, I would say coal capital of India, and a fantastic institution, what she has nurtured while she is leading there. And having said this, one common thread which runs across all my speakers is that I can safely say they are very, very humble and down-to-earth individuals. I had to just message them once that, guys, we are doing this. I have not even met Vineet ever, but these are the sort of interesting. Even I have not met Abhishek for that matter. I've not even met SP Dattaji for that matter. But having said this, when I say this, I have not met them. I have not met them in person. However, our interactions at IPN have been very, very regular. So again, as I was mentioning, Dr. Sarita Sinha is heading the institution. Before that, she was in NCR region. But having said this, she's a very distinguished leader who was born and brought up in the southern part. However, she is now in the north, and now she is leading an institution in the eastern. So more or less, she's on India. She's like trying to cover all of India sooner than later, which I'm sure she will. But very, very interesting conversation, and we are looking forward to your dialogue, Dr. Sarita. Welcome once again formally. Good to have you with us. Yeah, you'll have to unmute if you have to say thank you to me, right? Because only then will you be audible to all of us. But having said this...
thank you, Gaurav. Thank you so
most
much.
welcome. I could lip read you, but I couldn't hear you. So hence I said that what you were trying to say. Yeah. Moving to my next speaker, or my guest for today is Mr. Abhishek Kumar Yadav. Mr. Abhishek Kumar Yadav is the chairman of the Griffins school in Kharagpur, very near to IIT Kharagpur, a young entrepreneur, I would say. If I am right in my reading, he is also an IIT Kharagpur graduate. And more importantly, good to see such young blood into the education fold. A passionate entrepreneur. Whatever I have known little of him, I see him very, very enterprising. And he's been with IPN for now almost 6 odd months. Very young member, if I may say. When I saw him, I invited him to be a part of IPN family. So looking forward to a very fresh perspective, Abhishek, and your learnings at leading an institution, being a chair of that institution. Most welcome, and look forward to your conversation as well.
Thank you very much, Gaurav, and thank you for having me here. And I look forward to learning from a lot of experienced principals and educators. Hopefully, we can take back many more positives.
Certainly, that is the idea, and I'm sure that's a great attitude to hold. Moving on, my next guest is possibly someone I have known for a longest duration of time. I would say a very integral part of IPN family. Dr. Not yet a doctor, but he's for me a doctorate as well. Mr. Neeraj Sinha, principal of Firayalal Institution in Ranchi. He is based in Ranchi now. Earlier, he used to be the principal in Gwalior region, which was part of the central India, Madhya Pradesh. Again, a very distinguished school leader, very unassuming, very, very down-to-earth individual. Having known him for good 3 to 4 years, I personally believe he holds a lot of practical perspective to running an institution of magnitude, I would say. And now he is in his hometown back in Ranchi, running institution of repute in that city. So good to have you with us, Neeraj as well. A pleasure.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Yes. Moving on, my fourth speaker is Mr. Vineet Kansal. Mr. Vineet is the CEO of the school in Kolkata, known today. As we see, he's the school and the CEO, in fact, of the Newton School in Kolkata, which I was firstly, when I got to see their work in terms of mostly on the web, I must compliment them. They are running a fabulous institution. They're doing a fantastic job with respect to the sort of pedagogical views they hold, or the sort of a methodology. And obviously, Kolkata to me is a mecca of quizzing, and being a national level quizzer myself, I've been to that city a couple of times. And having said this, I'm looking forward to hear for the first time. I have never interacted with any institutional head from the Kolkata region, especially, which I personally believe is I would say knowledge hub in a way, in a many way. I call it a knowledge city. I've been to IIM Calcutta, the Joka campus once, but that was a very, very long time ago, almost 12 years ago. So I will look forward to hearing your perspective, Vineet, that how have you led this institution? And I believe you've been there almost for a decade now. So looking forward to your leadership perspective of building this institution from scratch, I believe. So that's something which will be very refreshing for all of us to listen into. Welcome, Vineet. You'll have to unmute again. You were.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for the kind words. I'm really looking forward. Incidentally, I've already, spoken with Mr. Abhishek. Before we share a common, liking towards technology. So that is how we connected.
Oh, brilliant.
Earlier. So I mean, definitely looking forward to some great thoughts.
Absolutely brilliant. That's fantastic. That's the core idea of IPN, to collaborate and learn with each other. And last but not the least, Dr. S.P. Dutta, who is with us as well, and in fact will be our final speaker for today's conversation. I should say that I got to know Dr. Datta's work very recently on IPN, and fabulous. Again, I must compliment that leaders from across the country are working fabulous. I mean, this is the beauty of IPN for me, at least, that I get to meet people which I have otherwise would have never met. I mean, purely because of, I would say, technology. I mean, call it a little thank you to COVID as well. So, right, these are the few good things which were the bright spots of, I would say, COVID-19 for me. I got to meet some fabulous people and got to know them purely because of their work. He's at present the principal of Krishnagar Public School, Nadia, in West Bengal. If that's and more importantly, I would love to hear from him his perspective of leading an institution within that terrain, and what are the challenges, or what are the sort of priorities they are setting out of, which I believe all the leaders will look forward to listen to you as well. Very welcome, very cordial welcome to all of my 5 speakers. As a matter of format, I've already outlined, all of you will get your individual speaking time. You can make your deliberation in this stipulated time. Please time yourself. Idea is to have a 10 to 12 minute opening remarks from all of you. Once we have done with this, we will go to a Q&A, which should be the majority of our time. The sequence in which I have introduced all of you is actually the sequence of your deliberation as well. So I request Dr. Sarita to kickstart the conversation, and let's have a great dialogue today as well. I see a lot of friends of mine who are joining. I see Vinita Rajput also joining from Patiala. Good to see you, Vinita, Sashi Saneja ji, a lot of these people, and thank you very much all who are joining in. And if you all can come on the video as well, the only way I can interact with you, I usually do not interact with Windows for that matter. Sarita ji, over to you, but start with, yes.
Thank you, Gaurav. Very nicely you had introduced, and thank you for saying good words and all that. And it's a wonderful platform. I think we can share ideas here, and we can get to know which region, what problems they have. Maybe we are also facing the same problem. And when we interact, we understand, and we can solve many problems as such. So I begin with, as a leader, one has to have a very clear vision and an appropriate resources, good relationship building, and I'm sure things will be easy to achieve. Like every year, even we had set activities for the year, but this 2021 will be different. Offline and online classes will continue. So our first priority is technology-centered learning. We believe that technology only can fulfill a lot of problems now. Starting from WhatsApp, initially what happened was we used to stop the students from using smartphones. Slowly, we are moving to digitalization. Every little thing, what we had to convey, the parents or the teachers, whatever we had to do, we used to record and send it on WhatsApp. Now, Now, what happened is, most importantly, students have been given a taste of what they can achieve with their own technology. We could like to re-establish schools as places where teachers, students, and families can work together to creatively learn with the devices and apps most familiar to their everyday lives. Social media apps and games have proven convenient places for teachers to share insights into their classroom practice, while students can quickly show teachers and classmates what they have been working on. The informal use of digital media has always played an important role in boosting students, teachers, and parents with a motivation to connect and learn. My priority will also be stressed on e-games, that is, games played on videos and all. Overnight, we switched over from classroom teaching, lecture halls to digital platform. Earlier, when computers were introduced, lot of apprehensions were there. We could not make full use of technology. But with the pandemic, the digital education technologies offered quick fixes to every possible problem what we are facing today. That's all because of technology that we are able to do things today and reach to large number of students sitting at home. Now, my second is planning, the making the real roadmap for the whole year. There'll be a challenge of doing things new, planning calendar, preparing roster for various activities, which will be more of individual performance rather than group activities. This new perspective will be difficult but has to be accepted. The viability of adopting blended and flipped classes will have to be thoughtfully worked out. More focus and emphasis will be laid on core subjects. Blended learning is important as the student becomes active learner. That's what we felt. Blended learning is very important. First and foremost is schools will have to take parents, that is, they are the main stakeholders, in confidence and instill assurance in them that new normal schools will be appropriately, hygienically reset. There will be more child safety centric precautionary protocols and priorities will be standardized for student community. See, nothing should be hollow. Just saying will not do. You have to prove it. If schools stand to prove what they say, a great hurdle will be crossed. Realignment, restructuring, and reallocation of facilities, infrastructure, and services will be a great effort by all. Now, my third is concentration. Like children have lost that concentration span, and mental health. Mental health of every child is also very important now. As school habit, now children, from past 1 year, they're not coming to school. So they have lost that habit and they've lost, they're not in touch with, concentration and they'll be having all these issues. As school habit of children has come to a standstill, working on school timings and schedule will need to be given more priority. We will have to work to rebuild their concentration span, now, which is very important. They used to live in their comfort zone at home and listening to the lessons and all that. If they wanted, they would listen to, otherwise they would just switch off their videos. So that is also very important. We have to keep this in mind. We have decided that we'll have lot of brief breaks for children when they come to school. Will be given to children lot of memory games have been designed especially for primary classes. A little extra thought and work can bring about a significant change for the students. Mental health will be given priority. Now, another important task which we plan to take up is sensitizing students on cleanliness. They'll be made aware that it is not only a COVID period phenomenon, but a virtue to be inculcated lifelong. This is nothing which is, just for some time the cleanliness and things like that, but it is lifelong. You should be knowing how to keep yourself clean, your surroundings clean. They will also be taught to appreciate the importance of personal cleanliness and surrounding environment. It will keep them and their company safe. And one very important thing what we felt is stop listening, spreading, or discussing any rumors, which is the most difficult during this difficult time. During these times, rumors have a strong hold everywhere with teachers, parents, and students. Rumors are nothing but a lethal weapon that affects the morale of the people. And what we plan is we'll make people aware and increase each one's responsibility. There would be a lot of checkpoints and teachers will be assigned important tasks. At every level, there'll be responsible person who will check and counter check the authenticity of any message or anything which is going around. No misinformation will be entertained. We have to tackle things very tactfully. Now, teachers have to play a very important role here. They'll play the role of mentors and counsel students regularly. The initial days will be unusual, emotional for parents, teachers, and students. Wearing masks regularly, washing hands after every class, and especially adapting to the new set of in-school rules will make learning process, difficult as well as smooth. I say both. Do's and don'ts posters will be placed in every corridor and every important places just to remind the children how to conduct themselves in the school premises. This is something in short which I have planned for my school, Gaurav. And I just shared it with you all, and this is what we have.
No, fantastic. Absolutely. I think I may like to quote what you said about the veracity of a news. I hope I will not name that news anchor, but there's a news anchor of a national channel. She actually got fished by an offer letter from Harvard University. Eventually, it came out to be a hoax thing. And as I said, right, if they are so gullible, imagine what we can be and what a young student in school can be. So I personally feel that's a very, very, undermined point, which you mentioned. People take it for granted that whatever we are getting on WhatsApp or on any other social media is the right sort of a message. Let me add one more example. My young daughters who are 6 and 8, for them, Amazon is only a website. They do not know what is Amazon is a river. For them, Amazon is nothing else. For them, Amazon is a website, because for them, when they type Amazon, the first 5 pages of Google is about Amazon, the website, because they have done best SEO in the world and they're at the top.
Yeah. So this is what is happening, and sometimes, what happens is rumors and other things, they really affect people and they don't know the consequences. So at this point, we have to stop all this.
Absolutely. So without that, I personally feel that's a very relevant point, and we all should really see to that how we can incorporate in one of the areas which one should look after, in fact. So thank you for that opening remark of yours. I move on to my next speaker, which is Mr. Abhishek. Over to you.
Thank you, Gaurav. I think Dr. Sarita had made some wonderful points in that. I have some common with her, which makes me happy that yes, we all are thinking in the same line. But we have to understand one thing. The year 21 is completely different than what we have ever prepared for. This COVID has been an unprecedented situation, one which we was not there for past 100 years, and we hope certainly for next 200 years it doesn't occur again. So a lot of preparations would be what we are planning would be specific to the year and two maximum, and then we would expect to get back to normal. So while online classes have been the norm for all of us have done our best. But I would say the effectiveness would be not more than 60% compared to what regular offline classes are. And when you go down to lower classes, primary and pre-primary, it drops drastically. And the worst affected, if I would look in this also, would be the students who are not so bright or slow bloomers, whom we call it. And in the senior classes, it becomes more difficult because parents generally what they do is they give a device to the child and he is attending the class on his own. And there is very little tracking of whether the child is doing well, is listening to classes or not. And ma'am has said that yes, sometimes they turn off the video, and very smart ones also, they keep the video on and then still continue playing games. So it is a challenge. So first priority would be, I would say would be to ensure that the learning gap which has come in the concepts and all those things, because these kids 3 years down the line, things would be normal and they would be tested on everything that is currently being done. So important that we focus on this learning gap and see that these students fill those gaps. The institution does that. The teachers focus on it. So whenever you, let's say, how we could do that, that is another challenge. So maybe when we start the lessons, normally we have a revision of previous concept that is there. So now this could be expanded a little bit more so that this gap is reduced. That is very, very vital. Because unless we do that, going ahead can be very, very difficult for these students. And how another aspect that could be of great help is the use of technology. I think personalized learnings have been around for quite some time. People are pushing. Now is the time to certainly go for it, because the gaps would be different for different students. So investing in technologies where personalized learnings are measured and you can address individual level of learning of students so that they reach the desired level. Minimum learning level is what we want for all children. So this is another priority which we should look to see that technology is taken wholeheartedly and proper investment is done in that. And as we transition from online to offline, it is not completely going to be offline. There would be, as ma'am has said, also blended learning, right? And for lower classes, I will say it will be a challenge for them to maintain the interest in offline classes also, because they have used to so much online comfort of their home and so many other aspects. So transitioning is going to be crucial for the students to the school environment, and especially maintaining interest in the way the teacher is teaching. So the teachers have to put extra effort to ensure that their interest level is sustained. The children continue to enjoy the classes, continue to pay attention and learn, because a lot of newer ways of learning have developed during this pandemic, and we should continue to keep the good things. While we get back to offline classes, a lot of things we should continue to do, which are the better things of what we have learned during the pandemic, and not get away with that. So that is going to be another very, very crucial aspect, which I think as an institution, we should continue. Ma'am has highlighted one more thing, and I think all educators will agree here, is the mental health. Without a doubt, especially adolescent students are having a very, very difficult time, because not being with your friends, no place where you can vent out your energy. They have a lot of energy in them, and they need, the school is one place where they get the friends, the play and all those things, which is completely stopped. So very crucial, we monitor their mental health. Not only next session, even now we are doing as an institution, we have had sessions for these kids, because I think some of them were deteriorating a lot in their academics. Very good students, and we could see that. And when you, as an educator, you feel more sad when you see that good students are not able to do well. So that is when this counseling has helped, and slowly they are getting back. But I think this exercise will have to be continued for some time, on a high priority for their mental health, physical health. I mean, my son has gained some weight, and I think everybody, all the kids, because they are not getting to play, they have gained a lot of weight. So this is also very important. We have to see that these kids become physically better and fitter. Not only students, I will say the staff also. The mental health of our teachers are also very, very important. I mean, work from home has been a wonderful fad, but I will say there is nothing better than going to your office and working. I mean, all of us can agree on that. So it has become, especially the females, it is even more severe because sadly, when they are at home, their expectations from homework is also there, and office, okay, as administrators, sadly, we don't leave a slack to them. So mental health has taken a toll on the teachers as well. We have in fact started in past 2 months, we have started calling teachers here more often. So, and having these sessions where they start feeling much better. So that also we have to continue because end of the day, their mental health is going to be key to anything that will be implemented in the institution. As administrators, we can create all the best plans in the world, whatever is required. But if your teachers are not at the top, if they are not happy, they are not feeling committed, I think nothing will reach the students. Institution job is not to teach, but to ensure that learning also happens. And if the teacher is happy, only then the learning will happen. Otherwise, it's just the teaching that is happening. That is crucial. Another aspect which I feel, I mean, a lot of people don't address is the trust deficit that has occurred during this pandemic between the parents and the institution. I mean, it is the maximum that could go. I mean, you all are aware of the social media, different activities all across the country that is happening. I think we have to work on that because children are not going to go away, parents are not going to go away, and certainly institutions are also not going to go away. Very important we work on this. Connect with the parents, explain to them. We, while private schools have been demonized to the fore, I mean, as much as possible, but we should also understand one thing. It is these private schools which have delivered during this pandemic. It is these private schools which have ensured that children don't lose the habit of studying, don't lose the habit of getting up every day and attending a class. These students get to see their friends every day when the classes go on. That is a very important aspect. So while you may demonize us for whatever I speak, I'm taking the liberty of speaking on behalf of a lot of other private schools also, but when things were difficult, when things were extremely difficult, the private schools still delivered without a doubt. So that they should be given credit. You may dislike them for whatever reason, but certainly don't deny the credit when these people have delivered. And I think we need to engage more with the parents to see that because we don't want tomorrow that anything the child requirement is there and parents feel little uncomfortable coming to school. That should not happen. We understand it was pandemic. They were also in difficult situation. Parents are in a lot of difficult situations. Many of them have lost jobs. But now time is to recuperate for us. And as institutions, we should lead. Parents, of course, we understand some will slowly come and we move towards the normal. This year is completely going to be all the recovery effort. What a lot of things we have missed, a lot of things we have lost. We put priority on these things. And I would say when we not to keep too many priorities because when numbers increase, our focus also will reduce. I've chosen these 4-5 priorities which I've listed. I feel if we are able to work on that, then session from 22, we will be again at rocket speed moving ahead. Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you very well. In fact, because I mean, at least if I may say that if I'm the common thread on all the 4 conversations which have preceded this, the underlining discussion is largely what you said. I mean, in a way, you did a good recapitulation job for us. I would say mental well-being absolutely is a priority which is coming across all the regions. Number 2, which I believe we also discussed in the last conversation, was the trust deficit. Absolutely, without two ways about it. That how did this even happen? Why was this even happening for that matter? So I think we'll all have a lot of points to ponder. Good, you brought that up in a way that these are more or less similar sentiments across the country. So, and for the benefit of all who have joined us today, that our idea is that by the end of this entire series on the 30th of which is January, we will actually be putting together a top 10 priority list, which will be an IPN India's top 10 priority list, which is actually in a way crowdsourced from all of you. Your all views have actually been brought into that. And I hope while we put that together, these points will certainly make a feature there, which is, as I mentioned, well-being and certainly the trust deficit aspect, in fact. I move on to now my next speaker, Mr. Neeraj Sinha. Over to you.
Hello.
Yes, please
Thank
go.
you, Gaurav. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Gaurav. First of all, thanks to Dr. Sarita and Abhishek. More or less, the thought process or top 10 priorities are coming to be same. And really, it's a challenge for us for the year when we talk about 2021, when all of a sudden we moved from so-called normal learning to digital learning. I was the one who always uh, instructed the student not to use mobile and other things. In fact, I captured 161 mobiles before this pandemic. And then after, again, I have to say the parents that please provide them Android-based phone so that they can be a learner at home. So coming to the priorities at present, if I say in short and nutshell, the first priority is to build the confidence in the student and the parents that they should now be ready to come to the school for offline classes, which is very difficult for us as a leader, because whenever some parent gives a call, if I discuss with them during my orientation, I normally take orientation in a month or a two. Primary sections parent, they always say, sir, please carry on this online classes. We are still not very confident about the safety of the child. So that's a very tough task for us. So we need to see the trust building of the parent towards the school. So the first priority will be to ensure the parent that the cleanliness and hygiene in the school premises is thoroughly as per SOP or the guidelines of the government side. So that is my first priority, to see that the parent should feel confident for sending their child once the announcement is there that you can open the school for all the students. Second, as Abhishek and Dr. Sarita also said, we have to take care about the mental health of the student. For this last 1 year, they are totally addicted to sit at home and study through online classes, whether they are physically present or not, or just blocked their videos and someone else is attending the class. Now, when they will come to the school, they may not be that much comfortable to sit for such 6 hours. So we'll have to be very passionate to listen to them that yes, you can, you have the potential, you can sit in the class. And if any difficulty is there, then we'll have to take care under this head, mental health, that they should not be depressed. Currently, they are very happy with their family members. They're sitting at home and their comfort zone with the timing they are taking the classes. The third point, Gaurav, which I always a very strong believer, everyone says BLD, blended learning design. I have a different prospect for it. I believe that the student, parent, teachers, if they are blended together with a common vision of the school, then things will be much better. And I'm a bit fortunate enough to do this. I'll tell you, when I joined this school, I took my school to the very old our cultural ethics of touching the feet despite of any gender or any caste. Initially, it was a little problematic for me, but once every student started doing this, and I'm getting the feedback from the assembly asking who had touched the feet in the morning of their elders, it happened that the trust of the parents with me increased dramatically. I mean, the parents became so happy that during the PTM when they come, those parents who were really very, very violent to meet the teachers, they started saying, ma'am, I'm really happy to see my son this way, that way. So blending between teacher, parent and child is very utmost important. They should move in the same boat. And I'm quite happy to say that in Firayalal school, it was one of the best. and I never had faced any problem in collection of fees or in other way paying the salary of my teachers. Every teacher had got full salary throughout the month. So the trust we need still to work out. So that blending is very, very important. That is still I'll continue. The fourth is delegation and empowerment. I'm a strong believer of delegating in a proper way the responsibility to any of my teammates who are working under me. Because once the delegation is done properly, they feel more empowered and they are more happy to do the work. And when this is there, then my school comes under the category of happy school. So, which I was continuing in the last few years, still it will be my priority to go ahead. The fifth, I'll say, situation had changed. As Abhishek sir was saying, many people they have loss of jobs, and there are certain parents who comes and who narrates the situation. So we need to be more compassion to those people, listen to them, and resolve the problem to our level best, so that the child should not be deprived of the education. That's very important. This pandemic had really turned everything in different scenario and other things. The next I see is the encouragement. Now, this is the time when I, as a leader and my teammates, I have said that be ready to encourage your child at any moment of time for anything. I mean, the normalcy of life needs to be brought back. As Abhishek sir was saying that the children are not getting time to play. So now we need to say those things where they feel always encouraged and they are ready to take any challenge at any point of time in their life. So that is also very, very important. Now going for the roadmap. This is a big challenge and which I am already had accepted. See, I belong to a school which is a day school and I have worked in boarding school also. Boarding school is having an advantage of taking the class when they want. So this technology which had come, which was very difficult earlier when there was no time. Now I'm using this technology to convert my day school into a boarding school. So what I have developed a timetable for the next year is that we will have the classes from 8 to 2 o'clock, and we will have at least 1 hour classes through online. The five core subjects when you talk about English, Hindi, mathematics, science, and social science. So, for instance, what I have discussed with my teacher, after a week, it will be on rotation. Every teacher will have to go into the Google Classroom and will sit with the student, will give the total summary of last week class, and then they will have question answer sessions with the students. So it will be a complete revision of the work which has been done 1 week in previously. So being in a day school, I'm giving some time, which you say as a tutorial, which was really needed for late bloomers. Earlier, it was practically impossible because when I thought of going for some extra classes after the school hour, it becomes very painful for a teacher to stay back or to take the permission from the parent also that we are going to have extra classes for your child. So you need to come and take your child. Now it is possible through this technology. So this is a new thing which I am going to, I have already inculcated in the plan of this coming year 21-22. Now, the next I'll see the important feeling which I really utilize for the training of teachers and which we are going to do in Ranchi area in Sahodaya is that the training of the teachers through online. In this pandemic time, I have trained my teachers with various principles across India through my personal contact, and they were really enriched by listening those principles and gain the confidence, because unless the teachers are not trained, unless the teachers are not given confidence, they may not be expert in that subject. As you see, I mean, NEP is saying AIL. So now my teacher needs to be more trained, and this technology is going to help me to train my teachers very fast. So these are the few bullet points which I am having for my school, and hope that's there. Thank you.
So Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you very much. I think same sentiments resonating across the board, I would say. Looks as if more or less there's a common thread running all three leaders. So I'm expecting now we need to add a little more new dimension to it. Having said this, but these are standard and I would say very practical approach. This is where it is, we like reflecting back and moving forward, I would say. So having this very well said, Neeraj. Over to Vineet. You'll have to unmute.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. I hope I'm not on mute right now. I'm fine. Yeah, so fantastic thoughts by my esteemed, by the other esteemed guest here, and I've not prepared any, script or something, but I would just like to say that the thoughts by the other speakers very much echoes the kind of thoughts that I have when it comes to progressive education. So, adversity and necessity is the mother of all innovation, inventions. We all know that. I mean, these are very common theories that we get to hear, from childhood. So, I would say that this COVID 2020 has, brought a lot of this in all the educational institution. The biggest icebreaker, according to me, that we have is that now we don't have any difference between a conventional school and a modern school. Like the thin line that was there between the conventional school and the modern school was technology, wherein the modern school always spoke about, yes, we are great in technology, we are doing robotics lab, we are doing a 3D printing lab, we are doing AI, we are doing coding, and the conventional schools were always struggling, in their own cities. And I'm sure that, as you rightly spoke and as you rightly highlighted, that probably I'm the first person you have spoken to from Calcutta. I'm not new to listening to such remarks, because I do meet a lot of people from different parts of the country, and I don't know, this somehow have this feeling that eastern region is backward in all aspect. But as you rightly said, also with that, the kind of literature, the kind of culture, and the kind of authority that we have in education, I think we all will commonly agree that we are superior to the other regions in that.
Yes, very right.
Yeah, so it's just that where is the gap? The other regions are progressing. Technology is not something which is new to them, but for an eastern region, say for example, our school, we started 6 years back, and when we started, uh, our whole and soul was that we have to be different, we have to be progressive, we have to ensure that technology is a part of a child's life. So these elements which the eastern region schools are talking about now, like if I talk about conventional schools who are now forced to kind of adapt to technology because of the COVID situation, I would again say that COVID is a blessing in disguise for all of us. Like, uh, it has given us a break in life. We all have been running fast. I mean, you have the western zone, you have the northern zone, you have the southern zone. We all have been running fast, adapting to new things, thinking what's next, what's progressive. In this rat race, as you so call, we have forgotten what life is. So my insistence now, like after spending 6 7 quality years of ensuring that we integrate technology in all aspects of life, in a student's life, now I feel how much is too much. Like, I have this big question: how much is too much today? Like, as Sarita ma'am is saying, I think Abhishek ji is also saying the same thing, that when we give the gadget to a student, it's a very standard practice by them that during the classes they switch off the gadget. Why is this happening? I mean, now it seems that even the gadgets are becoming boring for them. It might be in the next course of 1 year or 2 year. No matter how much you make them do coding, you have this wonderful ads on TV, coding kijiye, mera bacha ye ban jayega, wo ban jayega. No matter how much you do all that, because see, we have been experiencing this. We have had robotics and 3D printing from the last 3 4 years. But after 2 years, we realized that out of say 100% of the students, 30% of the students are not interested. So if it is a part of the curriculum, why force them into it? Let's give them a choice. Let's allow them to pick and choose their fields. That is what the national education policy is now talking, that in class 11, if in class 12, you pick your own fields and then you choose what you want to take up. So my focus is not towards technology anymore. Trust me, I personally feel that it's already into the system. You talk about conventional schools, you talk about modern schools. I have seen such beautiful articles of teachers from government schools, the kind of job that they've done. No modern schools with whatever investment, with whatever infrastructure can achieve that. So hats off to them. So my focus right now will be on actually blending experiential learning with technology, with real life problem solving skills, with actually giving them a taste of their own medicine. They should value thing, as Dr. Neeraj very clearly, very rightly said, that the values are lost. We have to bring that back. Believe me, the last 1 year, I feel that this COVID has kind of taught us how to reflect back and how to kind of look ahead. So with me also, I personally feel that as institution, we need to embed these life skills in our kids, because tomorrow we don't know the new normal. Ma'am very rightly said, sir very rightly said that our schools should be prepared when the students are coming back. I totally resonate to the ideas, because you don't have a choice. Once the kids are coming back, thankfully the kids are so educated now that even if they step out of the house, I'm sure, Gaurav, your 6 year or an 8 year old, the moment they're stepping out, they have a mask, they have a small sanitizer bottle with them. Same with my 7-year-old boy. So it is something which is now their new normal. So they know that they have to follow these rules. And for us as educators, as edupreneurs, we have to ensure that our infrastructure is well prepared. But what next? My next is to ensure that these kids are future ready to handle such situations in life. You don't know when the next virus is hitting you. You don't know where climate change is taking you. You don't know what the next calamity is. So how do you prepare them? So today, I am sure even a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old is very well aware of what COVID is. So these topics like experiential learning, which NEP is greatly stressing on, integrating technology, ensuring that it's more practical based, right? Because technology can be anything. Today, in the last 1 year, the amount of product development that has happened across the globe, no one of us can imagine. It has not happened in the last 5 years. So I kind of very well resonate with very important topics like mental health, value teaching, life skills, experiential learning. So these are my macro priorities. I don't know how I'm going to achieve it on a micro level, but definitely the goal for us as educationists should be to ensure that our kids are now future ready. Technology is, let's just accept it, that it is a part of their life. There's no point trying to ensure that they run away from it. The question is, how much is too much? Because we all have seen the effect of it. Children are now getting bored. So no matter whatever you give them today, most of the conventional schools or government schools, after 1 or 2 years, I'm sure that the kids will also get bored of this. So that are my thoughts in a little nutshell.
I think,
Thank you, Gaurav.
no, I think well said. No two ways about it. And if I can put it up in a way which also resonates what Neeraj was saying, that till 20th of March 2020, mobile device used to be the biggest enemy of each and every educator. Come 21st evening or 22nd morning, it became your biggest ally. So that's a transition which has happened. And over the year, 1 year, we have all realized this. We all have to reinvent. To be very honest with you, I think we were all at the crossroads. We needed a pandemic possibly to jolt us and all that put together. But having said this, the basics will remain the same. The fundamental will remain the same. It will be about teacher at the heart of it. And as you mentioned, this is the term which I actually used way back in 2013, which is that future is all we are preparing ourselves for. Future ready kids needs to be the order of the day. Yeah. And what coding, I mean, I have my reservation, but then I said, but then it may have a lot of relevance for other people for that matter. So you can never, and beauty of this conversation, if I like it, if at least I get to see on IPN, is that I get a very different flavor in the Jammu or a Himachal belt to hear. Very different challenges, to be very honest with you. The moment I come to the central India or a Western India, a very cosmopolitan look toward education for that matter. I would say Western, most of Western. Eastern, I was actually, as I mentioned to you, I had very limited interaction from the Eastern leaders. Today, I get to meet Abhishek and you for that matter. I've obviously met Neeraj and Sarita ji, but I call them predominantly from the north or from the south. But having said this, this is what I wanted to hear, that maybe we will have greater dialogues with all of you, get to learn from your practices, as you mentioned, and I would love to have a conversation which you can drive, that you say that you have been hosting coding in your institution for the past 3 years. And you know, white hat is an 18-month-old phenomenon, by the way. If people know that, it took Karan Bajaj to make his company for 18-month phenomena in $300 million, by the way. So having said this, lot of other things. So as I said, we will continue to discuss and deliberate on these aspects, because at the end of the day, I personally feel this is the beauty of being a collaborative platform. That's the way I see it. And that's where the learning really happens. Okay, so in fact, we'll also take up questions. Obviously, that is the idea of this conversation. But before we go there, my final speaker, Dr. SP Dutta with us. Over to you, Dutta.
Good evening, everybody. Gaurav, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. So definitely, when you are the last speaker, you see that mostly everything is said. And what we believe that we all are having more or less the same goals, the same vision, and across the nation as we move ahead. But definitely to connect with Vineet ji, today significantly is the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, hailing from Bengal. And we have been inspired by his courage, his valor to rise up to face the challenges. Actually, the last academic session has been no less in terms of challenge to keep the basic existence of going. We all know the school across the nation had to let go of all existing beliefs, the practices, and adopt new strategies that hardly we could previously imagine. Yes. So when we are talking about our priorities, basically, if I'm to talk about my priorities, which are no less than others, they are more or less the same. But still, first and foremost, I will think of the safety and security. As each one of us said, that it is very important that as school leaders, we all consider child as the center of the all activities. And we are actually doing what is best for the child. So when we are talking about best for the child, we need to take care of their physical, emotional, and social safety. And I think most of us has discussed on that, so I don't need to talk much on that. But yes, I believe that it's very important. We need to educate our child on cyber safety as well, because actually that is very important and need of the hour. We have to see that it is not only the children. We have to think about the safety and security when we are talking about the physical, emotional, social of each and every staff, each and every stakeholders who are related to us. So we have to find out ways to train them, to educate them, and create an anti-bullying environment. So they should know how to face and at the same time how to help others. I believe all of us as school leaders are aware of POXO. So it's still important that we need to make them aware of all such things. This is perhaps a very important priority, which I would like to personally keep. Second, I believe, is creating leaders. When we are talking about school, it's very important that the school at a micro level needs to function in different ways. I'll just give an example of ours. We started our online teaching from 25th of March. I think we all will agree that Krishnagar, Nadia is a rural area. And as Gaurav sir rightly said, there are a lot of challenges because of the digital divide. But it's very important that we have to keep in mind that it is not the programs, it is actually the people who determines the quality of the school. So it was very important to identify the right people, train them so that they can lead the school, turn or adapt to this new technological environment. And I'm sure, as Sinha ma'am also said, that hybrid learning, and all of us believe that hybrid learning is the next future. We all are slowly and steadily moving to switch over to hybrid learning. So it's very important, we need to understand that while we are talking about different phases of learning, while we are talking about the styles of learning, it's very important we create the leaders so that they can identify how to see that the children learns best. So it's important that you need to give them space, you need to give them that area so that they can grow. It is not only that we always think of how to nurture the talent of our students, give them opportunities for competition and other things. But I believe along with the students, the staff should also be given that opportunity so that they can grow. It's not only that we are talking about all these CBSE training and other trainings, webinar attending. Yes, it's no doubt important for their professional growth. But at the same time, personal growth is very important, and we need to motivate them that they must attend up to something which acts as hobbies in their life, which boosts their energy, and actually they get some scope to explore. So perhaps when we are talking about, especially when I'm talking about my second priority, I will always talk about creating leaders. Then I will talk about the third priority, which all of us already discussed, is creating a happy environment. Today, we all are under stressful situation, and we believe that happiness is the fundamental goal of life. I would like to echo the words of Neeraj ji that yes, education is a shared commitment between dedicated teachers, motivated students, and enthusiastic parents with high expectations. So when we are talking about that blended learning, we have to blend the teachers, the students, and parents. Perhaps that is very important in creating a positive relationship. We have to take guidance from each and everyone, and we need to treat each and everyone with respect. I strongly believe in the power of praise. When you praise others, when you talk about their positivity, it creates an happy environment. We have to see, when I personally believe that our behaviors, our beliefs are tied up with emotions, and emotions have a lot of things to jump to start again. So it's important that we have to filter out, we have to help to remove the negative emotions working among our students, among our staff. Actually, as a hierarchy, it also percolates. From the head, it moves to the middle management, then it moves to the lower management. It moves to the vice principal, the headmistress, the HODs, then the teachers. So we have to create an environment where we involve each and everyone, where we try to find that, yes, they are happy. Once they are happy, I'm sure they will make their children happy. And once you are having a happy environment, you have a lot of encouragement, that there is a curiosity, there is an exploration, there is a thought of imagination, and even impulsiveness. Today, this environment, we all know that each and everyone is undergoing a lot of stress. And it is the prime responsibility of the school leaders to help each and everyone, including himself, that we have to come out of the stress. Because sometimes we go on looking at others, ignoring ourselves. So I believe we need to be energized first. We need to be happy first. If we know what makes us happy, we can definitely help others to be happy. And very importantly, we need to take the onus on ourselves. Yes, if anything is working well, that should be shared among team members. But if there is wrong, there is something which one need to include, one need to work. And for this, we have to have that effective communication, the trust and confidence. So when we have that happy environment, we create the learning environment too. When we are talking about the learning environment, we have to understand that learning environment is something like already discussed by Abhishek sir, that yes, we have to understand that it is such an environment where not only the students, but staff, that especially the teachers, they need to learn, they need to unlearn, and again relearn. Because that is what the new generation is. Today, there was a time at the beginning of the last year, we never thought of what actually hybrid learning is. This 2021 is definitely unpredictable, but we at least can think that where we will reach, where we will move. And so it's very important that we need to make people understand, the staff understand, as rightly pointed out by my colleagues, that yes, NEP is something which we need to focus on. As we all know that from 2021, CBSE is introducing a lot of ways through which NEP is to be translated in the classrooms through the teachers. They are going to have training for the principals and the teachers. So it's very important. We need to see the true spirit of NEP is being followed. Like Madam Sinha very rightly said, that it should not be on papers. It should not be hollow. It should be accurately followed. And that is what I strongly believe. Saying is something, but believe is a challenge. Personally, I'll give one example that amidst this time, when this challenging time, I thought it's very important that we need to involve our students, our parents, and we came up with an e-magazine. During the pandemic, a quarterly e-magazine where we invited write-ups and others from the parents, from the teachers, and the first issue was no doubt a great one. And in the next quarter, we even invited write-ups from our support staff, because I thought that they too equally needed to be involved. They should know that they are the part of the institution, and you won't believe what a environment it was, what sort of acclamation we got from not only each and every corner. And we created a record in the India Book of Record and Asia Book of Record, apart from appreciation from CBSE heads. So I believe that it is very, very important that we need to involve each and everyone. We need to set examples. And as we set examples, we can definitely create a different environment, a learning environment. And finally, I will talk about the most important thing, that is the classroom culture. We have to see how the classroom culture can be maintained, because it is not always the experience, but yes, it is the way we treat. We have to set a clear set of expectations at the beginning of the session, which I strongly believe that yes, each and every member of the staff should know what actually are expected of them. And they should be, and it should be followed consistently throughout the year. And as we know, every year we make a performance analysis, including ourselves. It's very important we do for them. And as we do for them, we can easily understand that we can create a satisfactory environment for all the stakeholders. We believe that it is very, very important. As school, we need to create an environment where we need to create a community partnership. As rightly said by my colleagues, that yes, the PTMs, yes, Parents Connect program, these are there and they should be planned. And I personally believe before creating a Parents Connect program, it's very important we know our parents. Like we know our children, we need to know our parents. And then only we can face the challenge together. Gauravji, I don't think I have much more to say, because I don't need to go on echoing what all esteemed leaders have spoken. Basically, these are the main points which I would like to focus on. That first and foremost is the safety and security. Secondly, to create leaders, create a happy and learning environment. And finally, the involvement of the stakeholders, their satisfaction, so that we can face this dynamism of change. Thank you, everybody, so very much. My heartiest congratulations to IPM team, and especially Gauravji for this wonderful initiative, not only today, but throughout this challenging time. Hats off to you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Dutta. So kind of you, and absolutely what an auspicious day we are hosting this Eastern leg, which is Subhash Chandra Bose's. In fact, you reminded me, I was aware of it, but I somehow missed out. And one brilliant shining example of that you don't need to come from a certain backdrop is Ranjit Singh Desale, the Global Teachers Award winner, is that he possibly resonates the exact sort of I would say characteristic of that you don't have to come from a certain backdrop in order to achieve success. It's a determined soul. You have to be a determined individual, and then you create things, or you create the magic, I would say. So, and I think, which Vineet was also pointing out in a way, that you can put best of the world's technology in front of people, but if they are not determined to use it in the constructive fashion, that's no use for that matter. And people who are working in, I would say, setups of government or other institutions for that matter, they are brilliant example all across us for that matter. You just need a passionate teacher who can drive that at the end of the day. So well said. I think all my speakers were fantastic. As I said, these are all rooted example. They were not superficial example. And I think the punchline for today's session to me was, it's a blend of everyone. It's not just a blend of technology, which I think Neeraj said. It's about blending people, blending technology, relationships, student, all put together. I think that's the best way of approaching this, what we have possibly seen in the past 10 odd months. So thank you very much. We open up the house for Q&A. As I said, I'll put this on the gallery view for all, which is, and not just the question, if you have any observation, your thought process to be shared, or you want to add anything which you believe we possibly missed out today, let's do this. I can see, and I would request again, Induji wants to, okay, good. And I would request, why don't you guys come on video as well? Sangeeta, yes, this is the way it should be done. Let's have you on video. Let's get to see. I won't use my cliche said that you're not appropriate enough to be online. Having said this, Induji, over to you. Yes, you were saying something.
Good evening, Mr. Gaurav and all my fellow friends. The most important takeaway has been all these years, happy environment. We must ensure. So the children love coming to school. If they're happy, the learning is for sure is going to happen. And even these days, I've noticed children who are chirpy, who are bubbly, right? They come what may, their parents could be concerned, anybody could be concerned. Their attendance has been 100% since 9th October. And lot depends on how principal and teachers treat the children. When they get warmth, that affection, that affectionate touch, that's enough. They'll flip for you. So another thing, the fees issue, where we talk about trust deficit, that can be managed beautifully well if we all give parents patient hearing. Let them have their steam off. Let them speak, let them say their hearts out, let them vent out, because some of them have been genuinely affected, very badly affected. So yes, compassionate. If we are not compassionate, we cannot be educators for sure. And some of them have fabricated. So we all know that much judgment every school leader would have about the parents. So when you give them patient hearing and let them have their steam off, they're ready to listen to you. So we should never go on defense. They would obviously try to save money. Money is such a bad thing, I realized in 2020. The parents would be so respectful, so courteous and chivalrous, suddenly would come charging. The first, introductory sentence only would be immediately after greeting. You don't know what kind of hard time we have and you people are so unkind or something. Just listen to them, and that solves every problem. Appreciate them. Another thing, most important, be it a child, be it 90-year-old person, be it a teacher or principal, everybody wants appreciation. Appreciation works wonders. So these extended learning is going to stay, but warmth for children. And I think educators are special people. They're special messengers of God. If they are not, I would never keep a teacher if she's not warm, if she's not affectionate, if she's not passionate. And with our experience, I think we can judge, though it's not easy to get great teachers. But then either leaders should have capacity to motivate them, if we are in position to inspire and motivate them. And of course, we have to lead by example. Then only they're going to emulate. So if we motivate them, the 80% is achieved. Important stakeholders, we realized they're so important. Parents are so important. We couldn't have run our classes without their support. One mother comes and tells me, who's stinking rich. She said, ma'am, why should I pay you full fees? Right? I sit beside my child, otherwise he cannot attend the classes. And they're the very renowned bakers of North. I said, yes, very true. Whenever any child eats chocolate or cake or pastry, especially the little ones, the mothers feed them. So they should be paying you 50% only. They shouldn't be paying you. So you laugh, you laugh out, give this kind of example and take your fees, but be courteous to parents. They should go with the feeling that they were respected, their voices were heard. And definitely, relationship is very, very important. We cannot run our schools without all involvement of all the stakeholders.
No, well said. Absolutely.
Proved that they don't need buildings. The time is proved we didn't need building. Educators have proved. Without any infrastructure, the classes were run so beautifully well. So kudos to teachers anywhere in the world.
Thank you for that observation, and in fact, well encapsulated. And I'm sure the owners will understand a little more, which is Vineet and Abhishek, that the most useless asset today is your building, by the way. So having said that, right, while you're saying...
I always keep saying we will get back to normal.
Sports, of course, children missed sports. But then if
Correct.
you were running your dance classes online, aerobics, yoga, we had a lot of activities for small children, right? If they didn't have the balls, we told them to roll the socks, the stockings. Like when we were kids, we would come home and remove the stockings. We would be in hurry to go for sports, school socks. They roll into some kind of a ring. So they were asked to aim in the basket for nursery kids. A lot of activities kept them happy, engaged,
Correct.
and enhanced their concentration.
One thing I would like to add, what ma'am was saying, I think perfectly all right. A lot of nice things you said, I think, but one interesting thing we should understand that human brain is hardwired for social connect. We are that, and that is the school environment which provides. Of course, we don't need fancy buildings and the infrastructure for that, but yes, this connect which people have. I mean, the kids need the teachers physically when they meet. That joy is awesome, and parents also. I think, of course, a lot of them have difficulty, and I think it is very crucial to meet them and listen to them. That and letting their steam off is very crucial. When you start avoiding meeting them, then things become more difficult. Rather meet, let them speak out and understand. And I think there are, I mean, if I was another seminar, I was just speaking that, and I said that in terms of technology use, we have jumped over 5 years in a span of 3 months. And then the former director of IT was there, and he reminded me another interesting thing. He said, "You are right, Abhishek, but there are a lot of people who have fallen back 5 years also during this pandemic because of the difficulty they had." So yes, both challenges exist, and I think as ma'am, Indu ma'am has very clearly said, speaking and connecting, that is the foremost. I think without human, with your students, with your parents, the more you connect, more you understand their situation, I think things generally are sorted and are resolved as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, so I cherry pick what Induji said. One is that money is a bad thing, which I realized today. and the second thing is that, I mean, no one would know better than me. You have to be a social animal at the end of the day. So having said this, I have not met 99% of all of you, but I feel connected with all of you. So having said this, it's about time. My girls go to a very traditional Loreto sort of a setup, and we were absolutely on time with respect to our fees because we thought that's a very normal human way of doing it, for that matter, right? But then I was hearing all these stories around people not permitting excuses, all sorts of stories. So I think I was making this mention in the last session that people have very different behaviors when they're individually addressed and when they are in a group sort of a setting. They very differently behave, and I've seen people for that matter. And I'm sure all of you, Induji is purely sharing her very rich experience which she has gathered over the years for that matter. So I will completely understand that. But as I mentioned, to my liking was that money thing is very important aspect. Yes.
Money's ruined the relationship. The relationship we nurtured over the years. We
Absolutely.
were one out of the window. So shocking.
Yes.
Shocking.
Chitra Kalaji, you were saying something.
Yeah, good evening to all of you. It was wonderful hearing. I was a bit late because I was in a different workshop altogether. Well, here I'm not going to give you any points on what we're going to add on to your list, whatever is there. And, I just wanted to share some challenges as leaders that we'll have to face when we are opening, because we have just opened the schools. Since 3 days, we have our 10th and 12th inside the buildings. Also, when the bigger ones are coming, the smaller ones wants to have a sneak peek into the school to see how it is. So what I did is today I met 5 of my students who are from the middle school. The things that I realized was they have lost the habit of, sitting and listening to people, because they can switch on the videos and they can move around, they lie down and listen. They are in all weird shapes when they are listening to the classes. That's going to be a biggest challenge for the teachers. The second challenge as leaders, what we are going to face is, especially with the pre-primary and the elementary school children, with the children, the parents, especially the mother, is sitting and listening to what is happening in the school completely. I'm expecting not less than 100 applications from parents asking for jobs for the pre-primary classes, telling, I know what you do in schools. So I would love to be one of your teachers, because I've seen one whole year of your teaching and learning. I'm well trained now. So I had hands-on experience. So please give me a job in your school. So I'm waiting for it now. So I'm sure all of you will be having this kind of experience probably. So these will be some challenges that we'll have when we are going to start the school. Well, thank you so much. And it was really good. I was thinking I'm going to miss the session, but I rushed back home and
No, thank you. You guys, Induji, you for that matter, and everyone else.
So the session for me is like a movie, 1.5 hour movie.
Absolutely.
I'm not
Again, as you called yourself as a social person, we are so confined, we want to socialize. This is the only way we do it.
Okay, no, so I think you're absolutely right, Chitakalaji, where on the second part I will deliberate, because they will actually end up saying that I can end up doing a better job than your teachers, by the way, because I have seen all what you do in one year, in fact. Right? So they will have a very compelling bargaining with you that I can be the teacher in your school.
Oh, no. But there NEP comes in. NEP is very clearly told us without B.Ed, nobody can become a teacher.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I will show the document immediately.
So that's your
and it's not only B.Ed, it's CTET also.
Absolutely.
Okay, quick observations, quick more anyone would like to add, as I think I'm thankful to Induji and Chitrikala though, for in terms of sharing their perspective, and let's get to hear more perspective. So just to add, Induji was sharing from Patiala and Chitrikalaji was as far as Chennai. So completely two opposite poles of India. Right. So anyone else would like to join in and share what, if you have started your school, what is happening, or what are your priorities maybe? We'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, we'll call it a day.
I'll just add one thing, Mr. Gaurava.
Sure.
Yes, as ma'am was saying, I realized that when parents are able to see what level of academics is happening, how teachers are teaching all these things, it was an interesting experience for a school like us. We are a very young school. In 2017, we started. And because being a little progressive, if I may say, we had a lot of activities and, children doing hands-on activities and then learning all those things. So when the children get back home, they don't say, teacher has taught me this. They say all the fun things at home. So interestingly, people believe that यहाँ तो पढ़ाई होता ही नहीं है, खाली मस्ती होता है. So this pandemic, at least they could see that पढ़ाई भी हो रहा है and teachers are teaching well. So that way it has added, helped us a lot. In a way that parents are able to see, what level of quality of teaching is also going on. So it was an interesting experience. This is what I wanted to share.
I would like to add to that what Chitrakala ma'am said. It has also given a perspective to the parents, to the mothers of the young ones, especially the nursery ones or the lower KG ones. Earlier when we used to have kids, as young as a 2.5 or a 3-year-old coming to school, the parents were always concerned if the tiffins are not full, if the tiffins are not empty, they always used to crib about the fact that school mein tiffin nahi khilate hai, khana nahi khilate hai, dhyan nahi dete hai. Now after the pandemic, when the parents are actually sitting with the kids. Now I have a lot of my friends whose wives are actually sitting with their kids. They're like, actually teachers itne mehnat karte hain. I mean, now they've actually started appreciating the fact that, it's so difficult to handle 30-35 teachers in a class. And we always used to keep telling them, when this question used to come now that, the teachers are not taking care, we always used to tell them one thing: we open to it, just come for 1 week and volunteer as a teacher in any school, wherever you want to. And now luckily, the parents have started realizing this fact that, my goodness, none of them, I heard no one saying across boards, across schools, that teachers are not working. They all have appreciated the efforts. They all have said that they've gone all out, doing the home course, handling their own kids, whatnot. So it's a beautiful learning,
Absolutely. And no, in fact, if you do a survey today about which is with the parents, that do you really appreciate the job of a teacher now? And in terms of really, which is about the sort of effort they put in, because teacher handle around 25 to 30 odd kids in a class, by the way, and it's at home, it's like 2-3 solo families, one kid, and that handling these 2 kids is an uphill climb, for that matter. I get pulled into it. Huge stuff. Absolutely.
The respect has gone up. The respect for the teaching fraternity has gone up, no doubt.
And one more thing, what I noticed, the parents came to me and told me, especially classes 10th and 12th, that ma'am, the children are coming to school and at home also. We now know how naughty they are and how you people are tackling. We really now know what they are. When we used to get complaints, we thought that the school was at fault. But now we realize that our children are at fault. They're not, sitting and listening to what the teacher is teaching. They're not attentive. And what they're doing now, we got to know.
Correct.
This is one thing we got to
feedback. Absolutely. Anyone
else? I will add, Gaurav, when
please.
Sarita is saying, I was having a PTM after my first midterm examination, and we took care of all those social distancing and other things. And believe it, there were certain parents who were very extrovert. In every school, it happens. 5 to 7% of the parents who will say nothing is happening in the school. My child is this and that. Those parents, when they met the teacher, they saluted the teachers. Ma'am, we realized where is the fault. Because when I started the online classes, I was having orientation session with the parent. I said earlier, I used to be the observer in the class and my teacher used to teach it. Now we are 4 observers. Teacher is teaching, myself is there, you both are there. So see how your child is attentive. So all my teachers who were very much afraid during PTM, because there are certain set of parents who always come and shout, they were the one who saluted the teachers, not 1 or 2, all the teachers. Sir, ma'am, we realized it's good, ma'am. Let's see when the school will get open and things will become normal. So this is the advantage of technology. Yes. That we realize.
Sangeeta ji, you want to say something? Please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to see my colleague, Neeraj Sinha, who had been with me in the school, Bishop Westcott School at Ranchi. We were colleagues. He was a math teacher and I was a geography teacher. Now we both of us have become the principal now. He's somewhere else, but I got him back on this principal network, and now we are in touch also. So I'm very happy to see him. And it's a very nice session discussing about the priorities. And really, I'm telling you that it's still, when I go to the school, the parents, they call me, like all the students, 9 to 12, we are having the classes. But the lower classes, we get everyday calls, ma'am, when the school is opening, my child wants to go to the school. Because previous to this, they never wanted to go to school, but now students are asking, ma'am, when we are going to come to the school back to see our teachers, our friends. And they, I mean, really, and they, sometime in UP, in the paper, it came that 6 to 8 is going to open. And then we were waiting, but we did not get the permission to open. So this is what we see, that now they are craving to come to the school and study. And I think when the school reopens for everybody, they will really put their all head and heart to study, in the studies and itself. So it will be a nice, get through.
Fantastic.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gaurav sir. Really, you are doing wonder.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sangeeta ji. Thank you. And Okay, so I think it's time to say thank you to each one of you who was with us today. All my speakers, Sarita ji, Neeraj ji, Abhishek, Vineet, and Dr. Dutta. Thank you very much for your valuable time, because I personally feel everyone has a lot on their table, but still taking out time, joining the session takes a lot. Having said this, I hope we continue to add value to each other's life, and we look forward to having you on the 27th, where we have it of the Southern leaders joining us for the conversation.
Okay.
I think we also have Chitrakala ji there in that deliberation. And on the 30th, we'll host the national conversation, which will be all our regional leaders will join with few expert joining us on the national front as well. And then we'll have a good conversation or a dialogue there as well. So until then, take care of yourself, and I hope to see you very soon, and look forward to interacting with all of you again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care.
Thank
and
you.
I believe
Thank
there
you,
is
Gaurav.
no
Thank you,
other
Gaurav.
observation to be
Thank
made.
you so much, everybody.
Speakers, I think it was wonderful
Thank
knowing
you
from
all the
everybody.
speakers. Nice hearing you all.
Thank
And
you.
have a wonderful year ahead.